Today on Inspired Money.
There's a saying with the Marines, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right? Everybody wants to become financial independent, but who wants to do the work? So I think the first thing, the foundation should be recognizing where in the stage of financial independence are you.
This is episode 154 with entrepreneur, nurse, and real estate investor, Maricela Soberanes. Welcome to Inspired Money. My name is Andy Wong, a managing partner at Runnymede Capital Management. Each week, we bring you an interesting person to help you get inspired, shift your perspectives on money, and achieve incredible things. From making it to giving it away, Inspired Money means making a difference, creating something bigger than oneself, and maybe, just maybe, making the world a better place. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Inspired Moneymaker, welcome back. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Everyone has a story, a past, a present, and a future. We have the choice to decide how we respond to life's events. Our guest, Maricela Soberanes, says it's not what happens to us that makes us who we are, but rather it's how we choose to respond to what has happened to us. I want to share with you her story of growing up poor, coming to the United States with only $100, and her journey to financial independence. She's a dreamer, an entrepreneur, and she has grit. She has 5 degrees. She's a certified registered nurse anesthesiologist and a Naval Officer. In this episode, you'll learn the importance of developing a creative and innovative mindset, foundational tips for achieving financial independence, and why Maricela established a nonprofit, a 100% veteran-owned business to help people in other countries with financial literacy and healthy living education. Now let's get inspired with Maricela Soberanes. Maricela, welcome to Inspired Money. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump right in. What's your earliest childhood memory of money?
When growing up, my mom used to go to the milk store. And yes, in Mexico, there's a milk store. That's all they sell. So kids are not allowed. You have pretty much to cover everything. So she will go inside and there's a line. And so I wait outside. There's some vendors outside of the market, at the store, that they sell like breakfast stuff. So there was this guy that sold bananas. The bananas started falling and he was busy with the customers. And I was just like, well, let me help you. I can organize your bananas. So he's like, oh, can you put more bananas? And he just put me to work. And I was like, yeah, sure. I was helping him, And then he showed me how to weight the bananas. And he had 2 scales and he was like really busy. So he got me busy, And he's like, this is how you weight the bananas. Okay. By the time my mom came out of the store, he gives me money. And I never received money. So I'm like, my mom is like, well, you want to get some bananas? I'm like, yeah, sure. And the rest of it, I gave it to her. It was really cool to be able to bring food to the table. So that was my first time that I was like, I work for those bananas. I was telling my siblings that I have put money. I have worked for that.
You learned how to work for money at an early age. You grew up in Mexico City with 8 siblings. What was it like growing up? A big family, and your mom left her comfortable life behind.
Yes. Well, definitely growing up in Mexico City was a challenge. We came from a small town outside of the city, and just to see the buildings and the traffic and the noise, it was just so different. I felt like the sense of family and growing together, it was the same, whether we're in the small little town or the city, sitting at a table, having dinner with everybody. It was the same feeling. So it was a challenge for the older siblings, I'm sure, because they have to help my mom provide for the most basic needs. But in my eyes, they just provided such a good family environment that I didn't feel anything different. But I'm sure that it was very challenging for them.
Among 9 siblings, where do you fall age-wise?
I am from the second wave, the 4th one. So there's 4 younger brothers than me. And it was definitely a challenge trying to get one-on-one time with my mom. So I remember waking up early in the morning when she woke up to make breakfast, and I will be the first one up so I can tell her all about my school yesterday, like what happened. And I was just go on and on, just telling her about my friends, about what we did. And that was like my hour with my mom, because it was really difficult to gain some time with her one-on-one.
Did that make you extra competitive, or at least you have to be strong enough to be assertive when you need attention?
I just knew when to be present, because none of my brothers, except for one that will have to leave, and he was more like minding his own business. So I just knew what strategy to use so that I can get her attention. And she loved the help, and I love to just be there and chit-chatting with her. I guess in a way, as a later life, I see that those behaviors that I created, like waking up early and helping others so that I can get their time, that definitely has served me well.
What was life like when you think back? Was it a happy time? How did you see money when you were a little kid? Like, what was your perspective?
I always say being poor is a state of mind. I never knew that we were poor because I was happy with my family. That's what brought the value and the happiness to my early years. Now that I look back, it could have been a situation where a kid might feel sad, but my family, they were able to provide the necessary things, and they added value to the things. For example, I'll give you my sister, my older sister. She will take us shopping, so we'll shop for used toys, and she had a collection of nail polish. And she said, okay, we're going to do arts and crafts. And we'll sit down together. We painted, repurposed pretty much the toys. And I remember painting the little clothes and the little toys. And then we'll go back and sell it. So that creativity and seeing the opportunity and making money, that was an early experience of creating the opportunity on where you can find the source of income. So it was not a poor mindset, but it was more a creative and innovative. And my eyes were like, oh, these are beautiful toys now. I saw the change. And I now I do the same thing with houses. We buy a distressed house and we make it beautiful, and we provide housing for our tenants that then they cash flow. So same thing.
Same idea from the childhood lesson on buying used toys and cleaning them up. I love that. School was a way out for you. How did you see that education could make a meaningful change in your life?
That came early in my life as well, breaking the cycle of what was coming after middle school, pretty much. In Mexico, you have to pay your way to high school. So I knew my mom didn't have the money, but I have got some really good grades. So when she told me that I probably was not going to be able to go to high school because she couldn't pay, I asked her to reach out to somebody, and she actually reached out to my aunt, that she welcomed me into her house. And because of my good grades, I have earned a scholarship, and pretty much that put me into high school. And the same thing, I continued to earn good grades, and that bought me a scholarship in college. And I just knew that was the way to get ahead and to be exposed to other ways of living. That was in Mexico. So when I came to the States, I just figured rinse and repeat. Let's do the same thing. Yeah, I continue that educational path.
You really have a rags to riches story. And when you came to the United States, you were 23 years old. You didn't know anyone. You had $100. Where do you start when you come to a new country with $100?
Well, first, I arrived by bus. So I needed to find my way to a sleeping area. So I asked in my broken English, or what little bit of English I knew, because I didn't speak the language neither, where do I get a taxi so I can get a hotel? So the first $100 were pretty much gone the first night. So yeah, you have to find the resources. Again, I needed to find some toys so I can make some money. I got creative. I paid my way to pretty much living here and educating and learning the language. I try to provide value in people and people's lives, and pretty much make some good friends, and went back to school. I started all the way from my EGD so I can earn access to college.
Wow. So what kind of jobs were you working in those early days?
Oh, cleaning houses, cleaning offices, cleaning restaurants, babysitting. Another job that I was doing, I was serving as a translator for the Department of Health in Texas. I don't know how I was doing that. I was good with computers and I was able to type, and it was pretty much a computer system that I will take calls from Spanish speakers that they were applying for Medicare services. So I got exposed to nursing. So I learned about nursing and how nursing can work in different settings aside from the hospital. So I went and pursued a nursing degree. That was my first degree here.
So you got a nursing degree because you started with $100. You've gone down a path of financial independence. How did that develop?
Yeah, my goal was to achieve the highest degree and educational field, whichever field I decided to go through. So I learned about CRNAs, which are certified registered nurse anesthetists. So they're anesthesia providers. You can practice as a CRNA with a master's degree or a doctorate degree. So I just kept pushing, paddling under the water and looking pretty on top like the dogs. So yeah, it was more like I laser focus in education. That was my biggest thing, and became a CRNA, a nurse anesthetist. Then I created my first business, which was to sell those medical services to different hospitals around the country. In the meantime, I joined the Navy. So I became a Naval Officer in the reserves. After graduating from nursing, I purchased my first property, again with the mindset of a source of income, because I could rent one side and live the other side. When I went to grad school and I was able to rent both sides, and when I came back with a different income, I was able to pay that off. I didn't really know much about the concept of using real estate for income or for building your wealth. So I purchased another house thinking, well, I'm eventually going to move out of this duplex. So I purchased my second house, which I house hacked. And then I started my traveling business with the anesthesia provider. And I Airbnb the house, and that was being paid away while I was working. So I was actually deployed, and on my way out, one of the members mentioned something about buying a house in Louisville and, like this Bigger Pockets podcast. And I'm like, wait, let me take a note here. So when I was deployed, I actually embedded myself every single minute and learning about the system. I actually purchased the books to get a real estate license. I didn't get a license because I feel like I didn't need another degree and to keep up. But I learned the language. I learned how to use it, the strategies. And when I came back, I actually started heavily investing in that was just the beginning of what is now a portfolio of 35 doors and self-managed. So I also had to learn the landlord business in the meantime.
Were you trying to use real estate as a way to generate income?
So at that point, my idea was how can I buy something that is not going to be a full weight on my financial, my income? And I was making enough to pay it off, to pay the whole mortgage. But in my mind, with my business degree background in Mexico, in the way of I want some sort of Robert Kiyosaki will say, not a liability, but an asset. And that's why I figure I'm taking a risk, but I'm also diluting it into. That was the mindset that I had. I didn't know about even the housing. A duplex is probably not a thing in Mexico. There's a completely different way of living. And somebody actually mentioned, you can buy a duplex. It's just you and your dog, right? I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, what is that? What is a duplex? So I had to learn that. The making money part came as a result of me making the decision based on I don't want to own everything, the whole space. I can rent it out. Yeah, so that's my mindset was more business related, but I didn't understand the business then.
Yeah, it seems like you're always learning and then transitioning from that duplex to the house hacking. It's always this progression that you're willing to learn. And it sounds like you're willing to learn by doing.
Absolutely. Part of it is, every entrepreneur is always gonna be looking. That there's no dormant time, and any person that really wants to make the change and get ahead. There shouldn't be any, you have to mix the joy and enjoy your life as well and your successes, but it has to be a goal. Like I call it movement with purpose. Like every movement that you take in a given day should have a purpose. And you create systems that are going to help you. And that's how we are able to manage our portfolio, because we have created systems that even while I was deployed, I was able to manage our portfolio from away. There's always the willing to move forward. And as any entrepreneur, I will be lying if I tell you that everything has been a success. You have to make mistakes and learn from them. And so now what we're focusing on is to share that knowledge that we have. And as me and my husband and I, a team of two, that we're now taking on mentoring people, sharing the knowledge, getting them ahead, looking at their financial situation and creating pretty much a personalized map so that they can also reach the place that we are currently enjoying.
What does your portfolio look like today?
So we have 35 doors. We have single family houses, duplexes, fourplexes, and eightplex. And we are starting to look into becoming more passive. So we have started searching in a deal with a mobile park home, and that's a syndication, and then self-storage. That's also a syndication.
Have you transitioned to doing real estate full time, or are you still doing the CRNA work?
That's funny you ask, because I was on the path of going to my next assignment in April, and all this pandemic issue came out. So my contract was pushed and finally canceled for this year. But at this point, I have the choice to stay as a full-time real estate investor and not have to go back to work. I could if I wanted to, but this is so much fun, so why not stay here? It's all about having options and first of all, creating those options and creating pretty much your schedule. And that's priceless.
Coming up, how to change your money behaviors, the importance of setting goals for both money and for time. Then be sure to listen to the end to hear about Maricela's nonprofit that helps mentor people in Mexico and other countries. All that and more right after this short break. The show notes for this episode can be found at inspiredmoney.fm/154. If you're listening in your car or wherever you are, check the show notes if you want to learn more about Maricela, her business, and all other things mentioned in this episode. It's time for the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. Today I want to give you 3 money hacks that can help improve your finances. Number 1, use cash. Try using cash for spending on items like eating out, gas, and groceries. Spending cash makes the spending more real, and there's the added advantage of knowing when your wallet is out of cash. By seeing and touching your money, you'll be more thoughtful about purchases rather than just swiping the credit card. Number 2, automate savings transfers. You can take small steps here that add up over time. Automation can help you be consistent with little effort. Set up an automatic $20 a week to go from your checking account to your savings account. This is a really small transfer that you're likely barely to notice. If you can increase it, then increase it. Depending on your weekly amount, you may just find that you can save an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a year. Number 3, keep a 30-day list. To battle impulse buys, buying something that you may not really need, put it on a 30-day list. During the month, you're allowed to buy necessities, but anything that's not needed immediately should go on this list, along with the date when it's added to the list. When 30 days are up, you can buy it. This process of slowing things down may just help you to evaluate potential purchases more calmly and remove the impulse part of it. These changes are small, but over time, they can have a big impact. Try them and let me know if they help you. That's the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. Inspired Money is brought to you by Runnymede Capital Management. We help you to plan, invest, and worry less. I want to share with you the Inspired Moneymaker of the Week. It's Virginia fan number 1 who wrote a review at Apple Podcasts. Virginia fan wrote, "Inspirational show. While the focus of this show is on money, Andy takes the topic one step further by showing how money helps people live better lives. The show is highly inspirational. I love hearing how the people he interviews are making an impact in this world. Thank you so much for taking the time to write this review. I'll be mailing Virginia Fan 1 a copy of Chemo West CD and an Inspired Money sticker. Inspired Moneymaker, if you're liking today's episode, take a screenshot of it on your smartphone. Share it on social media and tag me. I'm inspiredmoney.fm on Instagram, Runnymede Cap on Twitter, that's RUNNYMEDECAP, short for Runnymede Capital, or Andy Wong 888 on LinkedIn. That's ANDYWANG 888. Use the hashtag InspiredMoney. I'd love to connect with you on one of those social networks. I look forward to hearing from you. You're listening to Inspired Money. I'm Andy Wong. You have such perspective or different perspectives on living with different amounts of money. You would like to talk about money behaviors. Where can people start? Like, what are important money behavior changes that you see that many people can make to make an impact in their lives?
I think the very first, pretty much the foundation of becoming financial independence is like, there's a saying with the Marines, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right? Everybody wants to become financial independent, but who wants to do the work? So I think the first thing, the foundation should be recognizing where in the stage of financial independence are you. There's a spectrum and there's stages for financial independence, and that goes all the way from being financially dependent, which most of us have been during childhood. You cannot provide for your own essential needs. But then there should be a progression when you go into the next stage and the next stage. So first of all, you have to know where you fall into that spectrum. And then you can make those necessary changes or plans to pretty much plan your journey to reaching that financial independence. The first thing is you have to know where your money comes from and where it goes to. So having a budget, whether it's business budget or personal budget, of money, but I also think that time should be budgeted. I do, like you asked me earlier, how do you keep up with all these things? I time block. So I have an hour or two for different activities. And in a given week, I touch on all those activities because I need to diversify. I need to live a balanced life. And part of it is knowing where your time is. If you don't account for your time and how you spend it, it's gonna be gone by the time you turn around and try to develop an agenda. So I think those are the things that everybody should have control of, and it's free. Like, you just create that behavior. The other thing that I highly advise is, once that you meet your goal, let's say your goal might be to save percentage of your income, right? And then you want to save enough to reach whatever goal that you set yourself for. And this can be implemented for kids, as early as when they start wondering about money. So once that you reach that goal, you need to stop and celebrate, because that is going to tell your brain that what you've done, it's good. And your brain releases neurotransmitters that are going to engrave that behavior, and you're going to try to keep on doing it. So there's the happy hormone dopamine. So when you stop and celebrate and tell your brain, hey, that was good, let's keep that momentum going, your brain is going to register that behavior at, okay, that was good, so let's keep doing it. So you train your brain to have that happy feeling, and that's going to keep you from like wanting to spend it on something that you didn't plan for it.
Maricela, how do you celebrate?
It doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes it's just turning around and buying ice cream. So we had a company, one of our business that didn't make that much money, but it made some profit. So we said, you know what? On the 1% here, we're going to buy some ice cream because that's all you can afford. And that is a celebration. You're just taking the time and isolating that moment where you achieve something. So what if you didn't make any money, but you can free up some time so you can take a walk around the beautiful park? That is a celebration. Well, if you're not making enough money, maybe you want to buy your Mercedes. That is also a celebration. Different types of levels, but don't let the money amount limit you, because it's what you're going to embrace, is what you're going to send, the message that you're going to send to your brain. That is a good behavior, and it's a good behavior to have.
When you're setting your goals, are you setting small goals? Are you setting big long-term goals? What is your thought process?
So we have a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, and a 5-year goal. So when you think about it, like what I was telling you, time blocking, during the week or during a given day, depending on how close that goal is, I might allocate more time to the 1-year goal because it's coming up sooner. But I also want to make sure that I allocate some time to meet my 5-year goal. And
do you use any apps or tools to help you do the budgeting and the time blocking?
No, I use my timer, but funny you ask, we're actually developing some apps that are going to address that and make it easy and more enticing for people. So we'll announce it when it's ready to be used.
And it sounds like you're diversifying your business. You talked about the need to, one, assess where you are. Where are you in the process? You need to do some budgeting. You need to set some goals. You need to time block because time is money. What else do we need to do?
Build a community that is going to hold you accountable for reaching your goals. It is like communities like this, a platform that you can reach out. Sometimes you can find a group that good friends that are going to push you to accomplishing your goals, but make those goals loud and clear, like announce them. And that is just going to give you in the path and with the mindset, especially if you're in a community that's what they are in the same journey with you. They are in the same mentality, and they want you to be successful. So surround yourself with people that are going to push you to accomplish your goals, and they're going to call you out when you didn't complete what you promised or what you set up to complete.
It all sounds pretty simple, but I think that not enough people are creating a budget. They're not tracking their spending. We get busy. Life gets in the way so that we're not setting short-term or long-term goals with our money. Is it that simple? We just have to make sure that we're time blocking to pay attention to our money?
It is simple when you develop the habit. So, but you have to take time to develop a habit. And there's wonderful resources out there that show you like what the science and the biochemistry that is behind creating a habit. You have to take those moments when your body is ready for it, and pretty much engrave those feelings. And making habits is really not that difficult. If you make it really difficult to go and purchase whatever comes to mind, like burn your credit cards if you need it, and then you're definitely going to have to wait until the next credit card comes in, and then by then maybe you forgot why you needed that toy that you were looking for. So those are the things that create obstacles so that you can make bad habits more difficult and create ways so that you can make the good habits be not a no-brainer. Like you're going to make it happen because it's right there. Like carry your books where you're going to write your time or your schedule. Or I can show you my mirror here with my goals because I have to look at the mirror, right, every day. So make it the habit, make the steps easy. I was listening to a book and I don't remember the name, but it said every afternoon I finished my day with a beer, but then I wanted to break the habit. Well, I put the beer in the very, very back of the refrigerator, so it will take me some moving around. And that simple thing is like, okay, what if you watch too much TV? So take the TV batteries out and lock them somewhere away that it's not going to be that easy to turn it on. And if you think about it, the commercial marketing, they make things easy. They create apps. They make things so easy to steal our time and our money. How easy it is to go shop in your app store, like a swap, especially if you already saved your password and everything. That's what creates the habit. You have to break that chain and you have to take those steps away. And if you just look at what habit that you have and you want to break, isolate all the behaviors that comes with it, and then like break them, take them away, make them difficult. And that will make it easier for anybody struggling to form a habit.
Okay, so it sounds like I should not have my treadmill and exercise equipment in the basement. I better bring that closer to my bedroom and make it more accessible than my refrigerator.
Yes, whatever it takes. And the house might look very not stylish. Like, why do you have this machine here? Because it's creating a good habit. And then what's going to happen, you're going to actually feel so good after exercising that you're going to associate that with, I can move my machine back to the basement because I'm craving that good feeling, not the bad looking kitchen.
That's right. You're right. It's important to form that habit. And once it's made, then you just continue. So it sounds like you are in a transition period in your life because you may not go back to nursing. What's your vision for the real estate, for developing an app, for your overall business?
So our vision actually is to create a network of people where we can mentor, where we can advance their way to financial independence by putting their business together, helping them develop that map to reach their own financial independence. And we are actually doing that for free, but we are taking donations for the organization that eventually will be conducting community wellness outreach to Mexico and hopefully other countries as well, because there's always that need. That's our next goal. That's our 5-year goal, and we're hoping to meet it early. But also with developing the apps, everything is a system that we are creating so that we can help people make good habits and help people redirect what is not working for them. And hoping that we can be able to catch the people before they even make the mistakes of getting themselves into financial suicide, pretty much.
Tell us more about your nonprofit.
It's 100% veteran-owned and non-for-profit, and it's funded from mentoring that we do, and that we do it for free. So we are repurposing the efforts of mentoring and the successes, and then we will write an after-action report, which we share with every person, no matter how much you donated. You'll get a report of what your money was used on and how many people you possibly affected or helped. And that hoping that we can give you that joy of helping others, because as you know, entrepreneurs have that desire of giving back, because we know what it's like not to have. We know what it's like to have the lack of. And once that you reach a place where you're content and you just have the desire to give back, and it's a no-brainer to use what we can leverage here and share our knowledge, and then hope that we can use the resources to fund that mission.
So financial independence wasn't your end goal. You want to help other people. You want to bridge that connection back to Mexico, where you're from. How is it that you came to decide to establish the nonprofit and to go down that path?
Well, I always see a business as a business. Every dollar that comes in, I want to make sure that it's used wisely. So creating a business was, again, a no-brainer. But I also want to create a structure where people can feel that they can fulfill that mission as part of their donation and be a part of that giving body. So for us, putting that system together, it was definitely a personal desire, but we also see that other people is very much interested in giving back. So that's why we decided to take the efforts of going through this. And just on the side note, I have personally done medical missions for the past years, and I have seen the needs, not just in Mexico, but in other countries. And being able to take that project and materialize it, it's definitely a challenge for us, because I always participated as the system was already there, and I just pretty much paid my way to get there and develop my services. But now taking on the challenge of getting the people, getting the resources, like the whole mission of organizing and making sure that people make it there safe and came back safe, and then giving the report to the donors that make this happen. That to us is definitely a challenge, but we are very much looking forward to do.
You mentioned early in our conversation that graduating from middle school and moving on to high school, you had to break a cycle. That sounded like a structural issue that for those who don't have enough money, it's a very real challenge because they don't have the money to go to high school and you had to pay. So you're really trying to help people with finances and solve some of that problem, right?
Absolutely. I think that for every person that shared their challenge, there's something that we can help with. Like I said, I just got on the phone yesterday with one of our mastermind members, and he said, by doing all this planning and strategies of organizing his business, he's like, I'm just thinking that you just saved me at least $40,000 on taxes and things that I can do and organize. So bringing it back to, you don't have the money, but you can create that money. And I know it sounds silly and it sounds so surreal, but you can see the world with the glasses of opportunity and creativity that are going to get you there. Don't feel like you're handicapped by the things and the circumstances that surround you. The first thing is that you need to seek out mentorship. You need to hang around people that are going to enhance your life. And it doesn't matter how old are you, what circumstances you are. It's a mindset. Financial independence is a mindset. So you are only broke if you feel like you're broke. But you can be rich even though you don't have anything. Even reaching financial independence, it's what is financial independence anyway? So you need to define what your expectations, what your definition, your own definition of financial independence is. And when you change that way of seeing life, you're stopless. There's no stopping for you. You're gonna just expedite your way of seeing things and the way that you advance your journey. But it's a mindset. You have to start there. And I have a tool that I share, and if you want to share it with your audience, it's a map from the stages for financial independence. And also in the blog, I mentioned every strategy that I use to get where I am. And it's free. None of those techniques are going to cost you anything. And it's free.
Well, thank you. I definitely want to share the map. And I love, love, love that. That's all so good. Especially the glasses of creativity and opportunity. We all have to make sure that we're wearing those. I like to ask all the Inspired Money guests, how do you define success?
Success to me is having options and having that flexibility and owning your time. So when you reach that stage, anything you do outside of that is the result of your efforts, that your years of putting time away or money away, whatever that is. But when you reach that flexibility of owning your own time and being able to make the change in others people, when you carry on that, all the seeds that you planted, and now you finally are able to feed yourself. But on top of that, you can feed others. And that to me is when you excel.
Well, thank you for making a bigger impact and sharing your very inspiring story. Can you tell the Inspired Money listener where they can find out more about you and how they can follow you?
www.fromfinancialsurvival-to-financialindependence.com. There is my blog, and there's also the tools that I share with you on Facebook, From Financial Survival to Financial Independence.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Maricela. So what was your favorite Inspired Money moment? I like the idea of celebrating good money behaviors as a way to form good habits. And I also liked what Maricela said about not letting the money amount limit you. While you could reward yourself with a new Mercedes, if the money is tight, an ice cream can do the job. Take some time to celebrate the things that you're doing right. Okay, Inspired Moneymaker, let's connect on social media. Screenshot this episode on your smartphone and post it on social media with your favorite Inspired Money moment. Don't forget to tag me. I'm inspiredmoney.fm on Instagram, Runnymede Cap on Twitter, or Andy Wong, that's WANG888, on LinkedIn. Use the hashtag InspiredMoney. You can always email me at inspiredmoney.fm/Andy. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll give you a shout out here on the podcast. Inspired Money is edited by Christopher Wright of Wright Media. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're not yet subscribed, I hope that you'll do it right now so that you won't miss next week's show. I'll see you then. The music you're listening to right now and all other music on today's show is by the amazing Jim Kimo West. Have an inspired week and do something that scares you, because that's where the magic happens.